All right, let us begin, finally, belatedly, with our prayer before study. And yes, it is good to have everybody back. Bless you. Christ, my Lord, the giver of light and wisdom, who opened the eyes of the blind man and transformed the fishermen into wise heralds and teachers of the gospel through the coming of the Holy Spirit, shine also in my mind the light of the grace of the Holy Spirit. Grant me discernment, understanding, and wisdom in learning. Enable me to complete my assignments and to abound in every good work. For to you I give honor and glory. Amen. Most blessed Lord, send the grace of your Holy Spirit on me to strengthen me, that I may learn well the subject I am about to study, and by it become a better person, for your glory, the comfort of my family, and the benefit of your church and our nation. Amen. All right. First of all, you guys have papers for me. How about if I take those first?
I took the Holy Week for us off because usually they don't take spring break and instead take Holy Week, so it probably won't be as
You know what? This is okay. Just pass in this direction to make it easy. Oh, okay. Okay, that's fine. Yes, I know that last week was Holy Week. No, I don't need the outline, unless you just want me to see it, which is, I'm fine. That's okay. That's okay. Remember that, so I have everybody's papers. Okay. You were supposed to send it this way, Ben. I remember this is going to be an initial draft, because I'm really not going to give you any assignments of substance. That doesn't mean I won't ask you to write anything, but not above a few more imitations or a paragraph or something like that, okay? This is the paper. We are going to make the best paper ever, including if we have to do a couple of revisions. And remember what I said, professional writers do many, many edits and revisions. This is not an insult. It's very prideful to think that any of us, me included, can write the best thing we can write. Just write it. That doesn't happen. You have to step aside and think about it. So that's what we're going to do. I don't know. I obviously have a lot of papers to edit for you guys, and I want to do a good job. But if I need to look at how many weeks. So if I give them, okay, no, I'm not going to waste class time doing that. I'll figure it out. I might email you a scan of the edited paper so you could work on it. But I may not. Okay, I need to count up how many, because I need to get the revisions in time for me to edit them and giving back to you before we're done with school, right? So anyway, that's my problem. I have imitations for you guys, and it looks to me like after we discussed it again, you guys got a much better idea of what we were doing. I might have made note of some like commas or whatever, but yes, much better. So Luke, the original has a direct object. See, and you didn't. So you didn't follow the pattern. Also, in the future, it's probably good for you to use a neater piece of paper. Yeah, just, yeah. Katya, I put commas, so the who, which usually is separated out with commas. But, okay, this one has no name. Oh, okay. This one is Grace's, and it is in the wrong. Oh, this is everybody's. So, and you didn't have one, but you had other things for me to give you. Where are they? Just a second. I have another pile of papers here. Christian, I know I had, oh, here we go. So this was, now it's up to you whether you work on this or not, since you're going to have another. This was the Fellowship of the Ring that I asked everybody to edit and give me a revised copy. Yep. Did I send this to you?
You did. I did finish it.
Okay. But you need to email it to me. Yes. Okay, so I'll keep that. And then I don't know, and it says please redo. That's a lie. Don't redo that. Okay? Because everybody, yours was one of the first that I read, and it wasn't what I asked for. And then as I read everyone else's, I thought, oh, I didn't explain that well because everybody's not getting it. So don't worry about it. If you want to know why it was a problem, I can show you. But we were supposed to follow the structure of the...
Supposed to do 3 rotations.
Yeah, and you were supposed to do 3. And we were supposed to follow the structure exactly. We might do one more of those before the end of the year. What? Yours were corrupt. Not corrupt but so much as fanciful and entertaining to picture in my mind. She had cows dancing on roofs, and it was just very exciting. I did not require that they made sense or were possible. I only required that they followed. If we have time at the end of class and you remember, remind me about how you can tell what a word is. Just say Jabberwocky to me. But at the end of class, if we have time. Just write it down somewhere and just say Jabberwocky if we have 5 minutes left or something. It's kind of a curious thing about the English language. Okay. But first, we're going to move on. And I'm just going to be totally honest with you guys. This whole wars of religion is very complex and confusing. All right? This section, this is why I didn't even have you read part 1. Because I thought, it's Spain. I thought, is it Spain? Is it? The Netherlands. The Netherlands. Oh, Spain and the Netherlands. Guys, there are so many people involved, and they have so many different motives, and I want to talk about that. But if I say, this is not a question I asked you here, but if I say the chapter's called Wars over Religion, what do you think that means? From what you've heard so far in this class, what do you think it was going to mean? Okay, and what are the 2 sides of the fight? Protestants and Catholics. Those are the 2 sides of the fight. I brought something else to read because this book does not go into the fact that there were a whole lot of smaller Protestant groups, not just Lutherans and Calvinists. And so I brought something to talk about a group that we have their descendants with us today, but their start was a little odd. I'm going to just leave it at that. I know, see, pique your interest. But I had you read the section on France. France was very, very Catholic. And as a matter of fact, you might remember when we read about John Calvin, who was French, and they thought that he might have written a speech that was kind of pro-Protestant. And even though he didn't give the speech, someone else gave the speech, but they're like, I think Calvin wrote that. And he had to leave the country. That's how bad it was, because he had Protestant leanings. But we already know this. Now, the first part of this, you've got trees, family trees. You've got all these people. It's just almost impossible. I'm not even going to, we would just spend our whole class time trying to dig these people out. If you take an interest when you are older in the wars over religion, you could take a deep dive. But let's not do that today. One, there's basically, this is what you gather from the whole first section. There are several parties in France, not parties like with hats and confetti. Factions. One of them is the Guise family. I think it's Guise, but you know what? They're not here. And that word is an English word, and we say guys, so you're fine. They are ultra-Catholic. I mean, they will do pretty much anything to keep it a Catholic country, including kill people if necessary. They are just rabid about it. We have the Bourbons, which is a drink, an alcoholic drink, but also the name of a family, which I believe the name of the drink comes from France, Bourbon. They are Protestants. So, A, do the Guises and the Bourbons get along?
No.
No, they really, really don't. And here's the deal. Both sides have people in the government. There's a king, but you know, kings have prime ministers and kings have advisors, and they were both in the government. Then you had the king's mom. She was not French. She was Catherine de' Medici. And if you remember the Medici family in Italy, she married the French king, and then the king died, and her son, her other son, who was the next in line, was a little boy. So often in these cases, sometimes it's a group of advisors, but often it's the queen mother who deals with things. And she was somewhere in the middle. She's like, I'm Catholic, I'm an Italian Catholic, but I don't think it's a good idea in my country if people are fighting each other and killing each other. That's in general a bad thing. So we need to all calm down and find some way to compromise. That's pretty much the setup. Now, I will start using this term, but first you tell me, who were the Huguenots? This is the first question I asked you. Yes, Brent?
Followed the teachings of Calvin.
Yes, they are Protestants, and in particular they are Calvinists. They're not Lutherans. So that is just a term they used in France for the Calvinist Protestants. They didn't use it. We don't call all Calvinist Protestants Huguenots, just the ones in France. All right? And so we have this problem. The Bourbons are Huguenots, Protestants. The Guises are super Catholics. And Catherine's just trying to keep everybody calm. They don't kill each other. But there was a guy. Let me see if I can find. Okay. Cardinal. His name starts with an O. Coligny. It looks like Coligny, but I'm guessing in France they're saying Coligny. Coligny. He was the leader of the Huguenots, Admiral Coligny, and he had a lot of power, and he was causing problems. And the Queen Mother Catherine decided, we need to get rid of him. Yeah. So she hired assassins. But they weren't very good assassins because they didn't get it done. And they killed some other people, and finally they go back in and kill him. And now the Huguenots are worried. So Catherine, and the king, her son, who was now not a little boy anymore, but was older, said, yeah, I didn't approve of this, and this isn't good. And Catherine said, look, we've opened up, as they say, a can of worms by assassinating him. We're going to need to go all out and get rid of a bunch of them. Now, this was a pretty good time to make a decision like this, if you're going to make a decision like this, because the sister of the French king was marrying a leader of the Protestants, Henry of Navarre. So Marguerite, the princess, married Henry of Navarre, the Protestant. Henry agreed to become Catholic, but they hoped that there would be some peace. So, what happens when there's a wedding, guys?
The two sides of the family unite.
Yeah, everybody gets together in the same place if they can, and they have big parties. So, if Henry of Navarre's Protestant friends and family were in Paris for the wedding, yeah. So this is, I've already set you up for what happened on the Feast of St. Bartholomew in 1572. I'm going to give it to Christian.
The result was that on the Feast of St. Bartholomew, August 24th, 1572, a horrible massacre of the Huguenots took place.
An enormous massacre. They didn't see it coming. Now, Marguerite, the bride, who had just married Henry of Navarre, the Protestant, who had claimed he would become Catholic, but it was probably just, yeah. They didn't tell her. They didn't tell her, and her family knew, her mother knew, her sister knew, but they kept her blissfully unaware of what was going on because she would worry about Henry. Now, her husband Henry, they didn't kill him because that's just bad form, like the rest of it was good form. I brought this history book in to read a little bit more about this. First of all, I do want to note that this isn't the first, we'll say, massacre that had happened. The Duke of Guise, super Catholic, found some Huguenots worshiping in a barn, which he declared contrary to the law. He had them dispersed, but in the confusion, some 50 or 60 Huguenots lost their lives, and a very large number were wounded. But the St. Bartholomew's Day Massacre, much worse. Let me read, especially because I have some nice bloodthirsty young men here that would like to hear the details. And maybe women. I feel like there might be some bloodthirstiness here. Okay, that is the page number I wrote down, but that's not the page number. Hold on. Oh, 361, not 91. Okay, listen to this. The Guise family, super Catholics, persuaded the king and his mother, Catherine de' Medici, that this gathering of Huguenots posed a threat to them. We don't want all these Huguenots coming for this wedding. It's bad. Charles and his advisors decided to eliminate the Huguenot leaders with one swift blow. According to one French military leader, Charles and his advisors believed that civil war would soon break out anyway, and that, quote, it was better to win a battle in Paris, where all the leaders were, than to risk it in the field and fall into a dangerous and uncertain war, unquote. The massacre began early in the day on August 24th, when the King's Guard sought out and killed some prominent Huguenot leaders. These murders soon unleashed a wave of violence that gripped the city of Paris. For 3 days, frenzied Catholic mobs roamed the streets of Paris, killing Huguenots in an often cruel and bloodthirsty manner. Okay, here we go. Buckle up. According to one eyewitness account, quote, "Then they took her and dragged her by the hair a long way through the streets, and spying the gold bracelets on her arms, without having the patience to unfasten them, cut off her wrists.
Oh, yeah, it's just easier to do, you know.
3 days of killing left 3,000 Huguenots dead. Although not Henry of Navarre, who saved his life by promising to turn Catholic. Thousands more were killed in provincial towns. The massacre boomeranged, however. What do you think what happens if you say something boomerangs?
It comes back at you.
It comes back and hits you. Because it discredited the Valois dynasty, the Guises, without ending the conflict. When you kill a bunch of people, it doesn't make you look good. I feel like that's painfully obvious. And so this is the notorious St. Bartholomew's Day massacre. Unfortunately, this is another one of those events that makes the church look bad. Although I told you that under Queen Elizabeth, who we're going to meet in a couple of weeks again, plenty of Catholics got killed. There was plenty on both sides, but these dramatic episodes of massacring Protestants really, really did not make the rest of Europe very pleased with the Catholics.
What's Germany Day?
Germany was, thank you for saying that, because I have a map in this book too that I wanted to show you, and I would have totally forgotten. I'll bring this down. So it's color coded. Here I'm going to do U2 and then U2 and then maybe U3, okay, to save time. This is a map of Europe, and it's color coded. So everything pink is still Catholic. The purple is Calvinist, Protestant. Green is Lutheran. So here's Germany. Take a look. We got Lutheran. This was Confederation down here. We got Calvinist. And the hatched lines mean it's influenced by Luther. So you see, it's disappearing. So that's a very good question. Here, ladies. Do the same thing for you, then I'll do for the gentleman. So all of the pink is still Catholic. The purple is Calvinist. The green is Lutheran.
That's the Roman Catholic, and that's the
Anglican. And then where it's hashed means it's influenced. So this is influenced by Calvin. All of this is influenced by Luther. Spain stayed very Catholic.
And then England stayed what?
Anglican.
Scotland.
Scotland went Calvinist. We saw that with John Knox.
What's the green?
Lutheran. Okay.
Ben's not here.
Ben's not here, but we just cannot wait for him. Okay, so pink, still Catholic. Anglican. Purple is Calvin. Green is Luther. And when it's got hashed marks in that color, it means they're kind of influencing things heavily, even though they haven't turned total. So the question is Germany. Check out Germany, basically. It's all Calvinist, Luther influenced. And this is in the year, does it say 1560? This is only about 40 years after Luther nailed those theses. Which I know 40 years sounds like a long time to you guys. It's really not very long for that big a change to happen in the world.
Everything went from being Catholic to
To split all over the place. Speaking of split all over the place, let me see what. Since we're talking about that, there were other groups too. There weren't just Catholics and Lutherans and Calvinists. There were other groups, and one of them was the Anabaptists. Now, we have Baptists today. The Anabaptists are something different, although the Baptists are sort of distant descendants of them. But check this out. Anabaptists everywhere held certain ideas in common. All felt that the true church was a voluntary association of believers who had gone spiritual rebirth and been baptized. They advocated adult rather infant baptism. This is the first thing. We don't baptize babies. They followed a strict sort of democracy in which all believers were considered equal. Each church chose its own minister. Like just some guy in your church. Great, we like him. He can be the minister. Okay. This is all very theological, but listen to this. In 1530s, the city of Munster in northwest Germany was the site of an Anabaptist uprising. Anabaptists came there from everywhere, and it says they believed the end of the world was at hand and they would usher in the kingdom of God with Munster as the New Jerusalem. By the end of February 1534, these Anabaptists had taken control of the city, driven out those they considered godless or unbelievers, burned all books except the Bible, proclaimed communal ownership of all property. Eventually, the leadership of this New Jerusalem fell into the hands of one man, John of Leyden, who proclaimed himself king of the New Jerusalem. As king, he would lead out the elect from Munster to cover the entire world and purify it of evil by the sword, in preparation for Jesus' second coming. In this new kingdom, John of Leyden believed all goods would be held in common and the saints would live without suffering. But it was not to be. As the Catholic Prince Bishop of Munster gathered a large force and laid siege to the city, the new king repeatedly had to postpone the ushering forth from Munster. I guess so, because there's armies. Finally, after many inhabitants had starved, a joint army of Catholics and Lutherans recaptured the city and executed the radical Anabaptist leaders in a gruesome fashion. That's all they're going to tell us. The New Jerusalem had ceased to exist. Anabaptists got a bad rap because there were some very extreme individuals. They weren't all like this John of Leyden. But we'll come back to this in a minute. Let's take a look at our other questions. There was more political maneuvering. Oh, and by the way, let's look at this next one. Based on what I've told you, do you think all these wars were only over religion?
I think it was also about political stuff too.
Yeah. In fact, Dorothy Mills says the wars had become too much involved with political issues to end. I don't know if you guys remember Zwingli, Ulrich Zwingli in Switzerland. And he got very involved in politics and ended up fighting civil war and dying in battle. And Luther said he got what he deserved. I know, it was very harsh. But because Luther didn't think he ought to be mixed up in politics, that the church ought not to be doing a Calvin in Geneva thing. Okay. What did Henry IV have to do to become King of France?
Become Catholic?
Become Catholic. In fact, he famously said, and for whatever reason, she decided to only put it in French in your book with no translation. A great deal has been said both for and against this act of Henry's. His traditional saying, which is in French in your book, which has been translated, Paris is worth a mass. That's what he said. It's worth it to become Catholic, to become king.
I was wondering, like, what does this mean?
Yeah,
Come on.
Paris is worth a mass.
Damn.
Which makes you, does he sound like someone who is really devoted to his religion?
No.
No, he doesn't. He'll just, whatever is expedient, whatever is helpful for me, I'll go to that side. Yes, ma'am.
In my book, it does say like the translation.
Oh, is it in a footnote?
No, it's like,
W. Katya.
like after it.
Oh, I have to look at Katya's book.
W. Katya.
It's right here, like in it's French, and then it says.
Oh, look at mine.
It's just that's weird.
Well, good for them.
Yeah.
Whoever did that re-edition figured out that, hey, guys, do you know what? This is not anything to do with our lesson per se, but it makes me feel kind of bad. This book that we're reading was originally published in 1939. So it hasn't been, it's not 100 years old, which in the grand scheme of things is not so long. And 100 years ago, they made school books for kids, and they figured everybody would be able to make their way through a French.
Oh my gosh.
I know. I know. This is sort of like the old stuff that I read, and just little bits are in Greek or Latin. Because everybody can read, you know, every educated person can read the Greek and the Latin. I don't need a footnote. And it wasn't very long ago. This is how far we've got. And guys, me too. Me too. So anyway, there's that. But so he said, Paris is worth a mass. He became king, and finally he proclaimed the Edict of Nantes. Nantes is the name of a city where he happened to be when he proclaimed the edict. What did the Edict of Nantes declare?
The Huguenots had freedom of worship.
Yes. But remember, the Huguenots were Calvinists. If you are a Lutheran, you do not have freedom to worship. If you are an Anabaptist, you do not have freedom of worship, right? We are only talking about the Calvinists. No other form of Protestant belief was cool. All right. That is a whirlwind. Obviously, that's just touching the surface. But guys, we just get lost in the weeds if we try to dig our way through. Who is this person? Why are there 3 Henrys? Why are all 3 Henrys fighting? If you're interested, I can point you into resources, or you can borrow my book. But it's enough to know what's happening. First stage. And I'm going to see if you can see what's missing. Here, okay, I'm going to describe what we've talked about so far and the progression. And then you tell me if you can see something that's glaringly missing from the story. If you can't, I will tell you. Stage 1. There are just some people in the church that see there are problems, like Erasmus, right? And we need to do something about this. Stage 2. Luther and Calvin and Zwingli start openly saying, y'all are wrong. We're not doing the Pope anymore. We're going to start our own church, our own group. Okay, and does this make everybody happy? No. Next stage, another decade passes, we start fighting over it. Because do we want that sort in our town? I'm a good Catholic here, and do I want that Protestant riffraff in my town? What do I do about that? They're teaching something insidious, and we got to get rid of it. So we start fighting, right? Okay, that's the trajectory. Do you feel like there's anything missing? We don't like the Catholics. We've separated from the Catholics. Now the Catholics and Protestants are in wars. This is it's a hard question. It may not be readily obvious, and apparently it's not. Is there any other choice for the Catholic Church than to just start wars and massacre people?
There's choice. Have choice.
Not do anything about it.
Okay, they have the choice to not do anything about it, and so far that's what we've seen. We haven't really read, and the Pope stepped up, or the Cardinal stepped up and said, we condemn this teaching. No formal, no meeting. No, what are we going to do about this? Yeah, well, yeah. And you got to remember, just because some family in France decided to kill a bunch of Huguenots in Paris does not mean the church okayed that. Right? The church exists in all countries, but at this point, countries are running themselves. Right? It's not like, King John in England, where his subordinates trapped him on that island and made him sign the Magna Carta. Or it's not like the old French king where he's just, the nobles say, yeah, we're going to do whatever we want. We don't care. There are strong kings now, and they make decisions. So just because in France they did something, or in Spain they did something, doesn't mean the church as a whole says thumbs up, okay? So the church has not said, we're making a war against Protestants and exterminating them. No. The Queen Mother in France and her son said, maybe we'll do this. See the difference? But the part we haven't seen is, what is the church as a whole formally going to say about this? Are they going to just shrug their shoulders and say, well, that's a shame? Are they going to say, look, everybody, this is what the church teaches, and those other things are wrong? That's what we're going to read about next week. All right? We're going to read about the Counter-Reformation, which is what we call the movement in the church to push back, to decide, what are we going to do with all these, with this movement as a whole? Not just in this country, in this country, in this country. And so many of you have heard of the Council of Trent, probably. The Tridentine Mass, which is the Council of Trent. We're going to read about the Council of Trent next week. So I believe it's just, yes, chapter 18. So read chapter 18 and answer the questions and find out what the church decided to do about this, other than just letting each country take its stuff into its own hands. All right, any questions or comments? This is an ugly time in history. And this is a confusing time in history. And just imagine living there. What if your county is largely Catholic and the next county over is mostly Protestant? And people go to the next town and then you get in trouble. You know, somebody corners you in a grocery store. You're one of those dirty Protestants, aren't you? And threatens you. Like, that's what life was like. It was scary. Okay, the end of that. I would like you guys to write one paragraph for me for next week. One paragraph. This does not take a lot of time, so I feel like you could go back over it and really look at it. And I'm going to tell you what this paragraph is going to look like and how it's going to be structured. So, and what I'm going to look for. So, you need to write this down because I think it's in the email, but it's a good habit. When a teacher gives you assignment, you write it down. You always write it down. This is something you're going to need to know later in life because the teacher does not want to hear your college teacher doesn't want to hear 20 kids email them and say, what were we supposed to do? Like, I don't know. I told you in class. If you didn't write it down, that's your problem. Maybe they won't all be like that, but all right. You know what's happened. lost my marker, but I found it again. Here is the topic. Are Merry and Pippin heroes? Don't answer it. I mean, answer it in your paragraph. Don't answer it out loud right now, okay? Save all your good stuff for your paper. Don't share it. All right. You were going to write one paragraph. Generally, a paragraph, just to remind you, has a topic sentence and a concluding sentence. How about if I write this? Yeah. This is very much, a paragraph looks very much like a paper that we've written. What do you think goes in the topic sentence? Oh, very good, your topic. And what are we talking about? Are Merry and Pippin heroes? So your topic sentence may say something like, Merry and Pippin are amazing heroes in the Lord of the Rings trilogy by J.R.R. Tolkien. Or Merry and Pippin are big fat losers, and we should never call them heroes. Right? And that tells me what the topic is. Now, if you want to answer the question, is somebody a hero? What is something you're going to need to know? This is a very good answer. Is not the answer I'm looking for, but it's going to come next. But yes. Is there something I need to know before, in addition to that?
What's your mindset?
You mean, and what's their motivation, perhaps? Okay, that, yes. Okay, let me change the question. If I ask you, is this thing a wackerdoodle? Is this a wackerdoodle? What do you need to know?
What it looks like.
Is that all you need to know? If I draw it, then can you tell me if it's a wackerdoodle?
What is a wackerdoodle?
What is a wackerdoodle? What is a wackerdoodle? I cannot possibly decide whether something's a wackerdoodle or not until I get a definition.
Hobbits in the Lord of the Rings.
What?
Blah blah blah.
What did you say, Julia?
Like Mary, so you have to describe Mary and Pippin then?
Well, the question is, are they heroes? Yes. So we're going to have to define hero. Because the definition of hero changes whether or not they are heroes. And how do you think you will go about defining hero? What are some options?
Save people.
What? Okay, so how did you come up with that?
I guess just movies and books.
Okay, so from your personal experience, this is one way. This is one way. You could say a hero, we call heroes people who save others, and that sort of, this is fine. What's another way you could define hero? This is very painfully obvious. What? Yes, but how can you find a definition of hero? What?
Dictionary.
A dictionary. You can look it up in the dictionary. You don't have to. If you do, I'd really like to know what dictionary. According to Webster's New International Dictionary, a hero is, or if we go with Ben and Julia and Brenda, we could say heroes, people who are accepted as heroes generally are known for these things, right? And give me a few of them. I don't care which way you go. But it's got to be, if you say something is generally accepted, it needs to be generally accepted, yes.
You can't just say in my mind, this is what I think of a hero.
Well, let's try not to say I and my mind. Let's see if we can not talk about us, but just say things in the paper. Do you see the difference? So it is true that that's in your mind, that that's your opinion, but we'll give our opinion without saying it's our opinion, if you know what I mean. Most people agree that. But you got to make sure most people agree. You can't say most people agree that heroes are terrible people and no one wants to live next door to one. No, people do not mostly agree to that. That is not true. It has to be something that we mostly agree. Or like Ben said, generally in literature and movies, heroes are people who, but then make sure that's true, right? Okay. What do we do next? Then I want you to give me, on my next page. Why is it on my next page? Unclear. Give 3 reasons for your opinion. Now, this is different. This isn't a full 5-paragraph. You don't need to support each of these 3 reasons with 3 more reasons. But here's what I would like. I'll just put be specific. This is what I want to foster in you guys. In other words, Merry and Pippin are not heroes because they sit around on the walls at Isengard smoking and eating stuff while the ants do all the work. All right. Merry and Pippin are lazy and then you show me them being lazy. Don't just say Merry and Pippin are awesome. You got to show me them being awesome. Don't say Merry and Pippin are idiots who mess everything up. You got to show me them being idiots, messing things up. But you don't have to tell the whole story of it. Do you see what I mean? You may assume that I have read this book. You do not have to give me a backstory. And then a concluding sentence. So technically, 1, 2, 3, 4. If this was a really long sentence with 3 clauses and semicolons, but we're probably talking about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 sentences at least. Conclusion. But no, I don't want to call it concluding sentence. Can somebody, after all our practice together, can somebody give me an example of what might be a good concluding sort of sentence for a paragraph like this?
Okay. Looking at these 3 reasons, like, you can see that Merry and Pippin are heroes.
Yes, yes. You got one, Brad? Yes. 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 Sum it up. In other words, you don't want to write a paragraph where you just end abruptly with no wrap up. Now, if you're writing a paper, and this is just a paragraph in your paper, your sentence might sort of shift into your next topic of the next paragraph. But since it's one paragraph, it's like a clincher. And I want you to try to use all your figs. Your figures of speech. Do I need to review what those are? No. At this point, I feel like, and which is it's a little challenging because it's one paragraph, but you can do it. In fact, are you guys doing alliteration? See, you could alliterate in your P1. I mean, a lot of you have been doing that. And kill 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say. But guys, it is really kind of painful to write and try to include all of them all in one fell swoop. I really urge you to just get a nasty old piece of paper and a pencil and just scribble down something initially, right? And then go back through and see, okay, and then make marks and mark things out and stick in and then make a nicer one. Because it's just one paragraph. It's not very hard to do. But well, as perfect as you can. We always want it perfect. But we are rarely perfect, aren't we, Anne? Because we're human beings. And errare est humanum. So, as good as you can make it, which probably means you don't write it, scribble it down on Monday night. Also, you are continuing to read Return of the King, and you might encounter some information, some intel that you want to include. You might write down a rough draft and kind of just leave it, and then you read something like, ooh, I want to put that in there, and you might just draw a little arrow and stick it in, and then you can make it nice and neat. That's it. That's it. And the next week, either this week, but probably next week, I will have the papers you just gave me ready for you to go back over and alter. So there won't be it wouldn't be writing a new paper. Unless you told me something that was completely bogus and untrue. And I might say, yeah, that's not a reason. I'd find any reason. But probably that won't happen. Any questions? We good? All right, let's move on to the Return of the King. Oh, and by the way, next week I have you reading chapters 5 through 10, which takes you to the end of the first part. You know, this has book 5 and book 6 in it. It takes you to the end of book 5. And then then we'll read.
Wait, this week?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I already read it.
That's good. I told you guys, you can read to the end of the book if you want.
I'm on chapter 1.
But let's try to keep discussion based on what we've read. Oh, that's what we read last. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong.
I was like, I wrote it down like.
Wait a minute. So, wait, hold on. So you read 5 through 10 this week.
Yeah.
Julia, do you agree? Okay. So I'm really sorry. You know what's happened? I went back through my notes, and so yeah, I'm sorry. Read book 6, chapters 1 through 5. All right. Thank you guys. I told you I'm a little off today. Also, I go through and I change my teaching notes from year to year because I don't like what I did. But then I don't erase the old stuff. I don't reprint. So I've just got stuff like crossed out and scribbled, and then I highlight thinking, oh, this is the one for this year, and then I don't know what I'm doing. Okay. So, oh, that's right, because we're getting done with this on the early side.
1 through 5?
1 through 5. And because we left Frodo and Sam in kind of a bad way. We left Frodo in a really bad way. He's been captured by orcs and he's being held in a tower. This is not good. This is not. What? Oh, see, I should have put is Sam the hero. We'll stick with Merry and Pippin. All right. Thank you guys for straightening me out. Let me put because I went ahead and marked ahead as well. So I'll try not to go past the end of this. So we talked last week a little bit about hope and despair. That, Baragond, the captain of the guard, and Pippin were standing on the battlements, and the Nazgul flew over, and it sucks the hope out of you. And it says Pippin shook it off, and he says, no, I will not give up. Gandalf was dead. We all thought Gandalf was lost forever, and he came back to us. There is still a sun shining somewhere. This nasty darkness is coming out of Mordor, but there's still a sun above it. And Baragond catches his excitement, right? And he says, you're right. He said, even if Minas Tirith falls, some of us will get away, hide in a green valley till we can come back and make our move. We're not giving up. Which is interesting, because what did it take for Baragond to perk up? Pippin. Pippin got a glimpse of hope. And have you ever noticed that? If you have a bunch of people in gloom and despair,
And you throw a fireball.
yeah, you're not, nobody's going to do anything. But if you can get one person with a vision and fired up to see what could happen, say, we don't need to give up yet. It's not hopeless. You can spread that hope to other people. There's a lovely movie. It's a little violent because it's World War II. It's concentration camps in World War II. So that is enough. But it's called Life is Beautiful. And you might say, why would they call a movie about concentration camps Life is Beautiful? And I really hope that you watch this movie someday. Because it's about a man, and he gets arrested with his son and put in a camp. And I can't imagine, do you have a picture when I say, like, Nazi concentration camp? Okay, this.
The boy in striped pajamas.
Oh, okay. So you guys know it's not good. You're probably going to die. It's really bad. So, but this guy was there with his son. They separated the women. This was mom. I don't remember if there's a sister. They're taken away. They don't know if they're still alive. But he's there with the son. And it's about this man. And he's kind of a goofy, quirky kind of guy before they arrest him. You know, he's just funny and he makes jokes. He decides to tell his son it's like a game they're playing. And the rules of the game, you have to be quiet now. You have to, and see if they can win the game. To make it so that his son has hope. Because I'm not totally sure he does. But he knows his son can catch it from him. And I will not tell you what happens to them, because I hope that someday you will watch the movie, because I was very impressed by it. But it's a good example of hope is contagious. What? Life is beautiful. But do not watch anything without parental permission, all right, or with your parents. Because honestly, I don't, it's in French with subtitles. It's a foreign movie, but I just don't remember. I mean, I know there's shooting because there's Nazis in concentration. Okay, but yeah, I don't know that it's graphic,
I watched
right?
it in church.
Oh, well then you can handle it. Yes.
We watched Max Hours.
Oh no. No. My family, all the men in my family said, Mom, you don't want to watch that. But I heard it was very good. Okay. Well, anyway, but I am duty bound to tell you as young people to always ask your parents before you watch anything. Okay? That's just, yes. But anyway, it's just to explore hope. Now, why, we speculated on this last week. Why has Denethor completely lost hope? He was using that ball. We thought maybe he had one, but now we know. Here's what he says. Oh, okay. But by the way, what is Denethor trying to do? What does he plan to do? He's going to take his son, who's not dead yet, and himself, cover them in oil and burn them both together on a pyre.
Wonderful.
Nice. Because, and he's told Pippin, you can go and find death wherever you can. But as for me, I'm taking my son and we're going off in the halls of mourning and we're just burning. And we're not even going to bury us in a sepulcher like our fathers. He says we're going to burn like the pagans. Nice. So Pippin goes and gets Gandalf, as you might remember. And interestingly, listen to what Gandalf said. I want to revisit this in a minute. Listen to what Gandalf says. Pippin asked him, can't you save Faramir? Maybe I can, said Gandalf. But if I do, then others will die, I fear. Well, I must come, since no other help can reach him. But evil and sorrow will come of this. Why will others die if Gandalf leaves and goes and deals with Faramir?
Wizard.
Yeah, and he's protecting the front gate. Even in the heart of our stronghold, the enemy has power to strike us. For his will it is that's at work. Sauron is here. Sauron has worked his his evil will, his evil will even in Minas Tirith to cause this sort of thing. Okay, so come, said Gandalf to Denethor. We are needed. There is much that you can yet do. Then suddenly Denethor laughed. He stood up tall and proud again, and stepping swiftly back to the table, he lifted from it the pillow on which his head had lain. Then coming to the doorway, he drew aside the covering. And lo, he had between his hands a palantir. As he held it up, it seemed to those that looked on that globe began to glow with an inner flame, so that the lean face of the Lord was lit as with red fire, and it seemed cut out of hard stone. His eyes glittered. Pride and despair, he cried. Didst thou think that the eyes of the White Tower were blind? Nay, I have seen more than thou knowest, great fool, for thy hope is but ignorance. Go then and labor in healing. Go forth and fight. Vanity. For a little space you may triumph on the field for a day, but against the power that now arises, there is no victory. To this city, only the first finger of its hand has yet been stretched. All the east is moving. Even now, the wind of thy hope cheats thee and wafts up Anduin, a fleet with black sails. What do we know about that fleet with black sails? It's Aragorn, because he went down with his dead guys and wiped out the south and took their ships.
Dead guys are awesome.
The dead guys are awesome.
W dead guys. W dead guys.
So look at this. He says, it is time for all to depart who would not be slaves. Such counsels will make the enemy's victory certain indeed, said Gandalf. Hope on then, laughed Denethor. So here's my question. Denethor has seen Sauron, and whatever Sauron wants to show him in the Palantir. And so, for example, he shows him armies. What's happened to those southern armies? They're dead. Is Sauron going to show him that? No. He shows him a fleet with black sails heading up. What's he not going to show him? You see? So here's the thing. Does evil deceive us? Does Satan? Let's make it very concrete. Is Satan in the business of deceiving us?
Yes.
In fact, does anybody remember in the Bible, it says that he can appear as this? No? He says, at times he can appear as an angel of light.
Why did you say that?
I don't know. Here. But I feel like if it's, we should look it up. And then you can actually, I could probably read the whole. Okay. So I never want you guys to think I'm making stuff up. If I'm not sure, then I will tell you I don't know. But this one I'm sure about. Come on. You know you want to. Okay. 2 Corinthians 11:14. And I will read it to you.
Eighth or second? Oh, second.
Okay.
11 to
So this is the New International Version, and no wonder, for Satan himself masquerades as an angel of light, which is terrifying.
It is.
Because
There's no picture.
how do you know whether what you are seeing is accurate, true, or real? How would Denethor, let's make it about Denethor again, not us. So we know Denethor was being shown things selectively, we would say. Sauron shows him the things that makes him give up. Remember the Lord of the Nazgul was called the Lord of Despair? Mm-hmm. And he doesn't show him anything that might be going badly for Sauron. He only shows him what paths were available to Denethor to find out whether or not he should trust what he sees.
Go on a mission and see what's actually going on out there.
Well, yeah, that would be very
Be a
dangerous.
king.
And what does a king do?
Ride out to war with his sword.
Okay, go out. Last week I asked you guys, did Theoden think they were going to win? And why did he go out anyway? Why did the king of Rohan ride with all his guys? Because it really didn't look good. Remember how many times he said, yeah, if we had more time, we could muster more men, but we got to go. Why did he go?
Because it's honorable. It's like,
Because it's honorable and you do the right thing. Because he's the king.
He's gonna lead his people.
So it's irrelevant to Theoden whether or not they are going to die. If you did the right thing and you did everything you could do, you're good. Even if it goes badly and you die. He says, I'm going to my father's in whose company I need not be ashamed. Right? Because I stood up for the right. I went against Sauron and his evil. Denethor doesn't make that choice. So choice number one for Denethor could have been, you know what? I don't care what I see in the Palantir. I'm going anyway. Because I'm the steward of Gondor, and the steward takes care of what is given to him, no matter what. This is an option. He did not take it. Can you see any other options? He kind of was given, not options to act. I mean, either he stays home or goes out. I get that. But
He should have known that the Palantir is not good, and that it's being given to evil use.
okay. You would think that if Sauron's on the other end, you might have your suspicions. However, let's also remember, who else who seemed pretty smart was sucked in?
What was it?
Well, it was Pippin, but he wasn't sucked into like,
Really smart.
yeah, no, he's not really smart.
Aragorn.
No, Aragorn purposely used it to stir up trouble, to show himself that the king was coming. Saruman. We know Saruman had a Palantir because that's the one that got chucked out of Orthanc. And he's also been believing. But you see, he doesn't see. It's all gloom and doom and hopeless. What does Saruman see? Join me. We can join forces. You're awesome, Saruman. Do you see? Sauron shows people what he wants them to see. Now, where is a source you might go to assess, if you're Denethor? To assess, do you think we should believe this or not? Do you think this is the whole story or not?
In this sense,
Okay, send out scouts, but they may not come back.
in this sense, Gandalf is the wisest.
Gandalf, who tried to tell him. But remember that scene. Gandalf and Pippin come up, and Denethor's just... And then he grills Pippin. He doesn't even talk to Gandalf. Pippin doesn't know anything. Does anybody remember why they mentioned that he, I think it gets mentioned, I know we talked about it. Why do you think he asked the less wise one instead of the more wise one?
Because he knows he's not going to know the answer. So it's like, I'm right.
Okay,
Or
that's,
also maybe he doesn't like the answer that Gandalf might give him.
okay, yes, both of those. Also, what do unwise people sometimes do?
They just blurt it out.
They just blurt it out.
Like my brother.
So all of those reasons, Denethor is super smart. But Gandalf is sitting right there. Gandalf, Tolkien is very unclear about what happened to Gandalf with the Balrog. Like, he died, he strayed out of thought and time, and he came back again, and
Said in my paper, he went into the shadow.
went into the shadows. Yeah, it's almost like a resurrection. Don't know what happened. But he came back with
It's
Changed.
with Saruman's powers. He's the Saruman, he said, that should have been. And he's changed. He sees things. He knows things. And he is, and remember what he tells Theoden at Helm's Deep, and Aragorn, he leaves him there and he says, you know, I'll be back. Fight. Trust me, I'll be back. And the third morning he comes back and he's got trees that eat people or something. Don't know. Squish 'em. He comes back with more armies. He can be trusted. What? Okay, do you remember when Gandalf shows up at Rohan, and also when he shows up in Minas Tirith with Denethor, what's the attitude of those people towards Gandalf? What do they think when Gandalf shows up?
Oh, we're going to get
He
in trouble.
brings a bunch of bad stuff.
He always brings bad stuff. Dude always shows up when there's something bad going to happen. We hate seeing Gandalf. Well, and he says, I come because you need the help. I come to bring you help.
Well, they do kind of have a point when he shows up. Oh, trouble's on its way.
It's like your house is burning down, and the person who comes into your room and says, hey, you better get out, your house is burning down, you always bring bad news.
Whenever the firemen
Just
come,
leave.
Oh,
The
they're
fire
bad.
people. He took Bilbo. And everyone thought Bilbo was dead.
Not a good little fire people.
Who took Bilbo?
Gandalf, he came to Bilbo's
I
house.
kind of know. I didn't
And
quite
they left.
understand it all.
What?
And he convinced Bilbo to go on a strange adventure.
Yeah, when people thought Bilbo was dead?
No, Gandalf.
Oh,
When he came back. Because he was gone for so long.
oh. Yeah, you mean, but he was not in the Shire for many years, and then he came back and saw Bilbo that morning. Yes. Now, is everything going well for Sauron in this war? No, there are some issues. First of all, listen to this. Do you remember everything was dark? The characters kept saying things like, yeah, it's dark and I don't think there is going to be a dawn. It's just dark now all the time. Because there's this darkness, this cloud. I'm not even sure it's just clouds. It's this darkness that hovers. But listen to this. Do you remember several characters said the wind is changing? You might remember Gonberry Gone, the wild man from the hills. He says something about the wind is changing. And listen to this.
Whatever happened to them, they just vanished.
Yeah, you're gonna see them again. But don't, just hang on. Well, I don't know if you'll see them again, but you'll hear of them again. Just a second. I wrote, it was on page 114. Okay, apparently it's not on page 114.
I was thinking about the hair, and I was like, your hair is not green.
I'm looking for a place where it says that somebody said that the wind is changed and the darkness is lifting. It has betrayed Sauron because it's lifting too soon. Now, let's make sure we understand the plot. Why has Sauron decided this moment to launch his armies on Minas Tirith?
Because you think someone's got the ring?
Okay, and who does he think might have it? Aragorn. Aragorn shows him. You got to remember, Aragorn is the king. I mean, he is the king. The one they've been waiting for generations. He's got his great-great-great-great-great-grandpa's sword that's been reforged. The sword that cut the ring off Sauron's hand to begin with. And he's coming back, and he's going to challenge Sauron. And so Gandalf at one point says, look, Aragorn has revealed himself. And what let me ask you this. If you are, don't tell me whether you are or not, or you can, none of you are, of course. But if you are greedy and you get something nice, what do you think about everybody around you?
I'm better than you.
Maybe, but what do you think of,
Give me stuff.
what?
They need to give me stuff.
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. That was asked poorly. You're a greedy person. Now you have something valuable. What do you do with the valuable thing?
How you keep it.
Why?
Because you don't want other people to get it.
Because everybody else must want it too. You see, if you're greedy, you think everyone else is greedy. Right? If you are angry, you're not particularly angry just today, but you're an angry sort of person, like you're angry all the time, all right? Do you think anybody else is in a good mood?
No.
No, they're all just trying to make you angry. If you're good-natured and happy, what do you think other people are?
Happy.
Good-natured and happy. You just assume they mean well. If someone does something rude to you and you're that sort of person, you're like, oh, I'm sorry, maybe you're in a hurry. Maybe you need to get somewhere faster than and they cut you off, and you're just like, you're okay with it.
Okay.
But what kind of person is Sauron?
Nasty guy.
Okay. Well, what is his greatest desire?
The ring. He's greedy.
And why does he particularly want the ring?
So we
To
can
take
take over
the
the middle.
world for the world.
I want to take over the world.
Power.
And he made it.
Yeah,
It's mine.
it's mine anyway. And I want power. I want supreme power. So if he thinks someone else has the ring, what does he think they want? They want to rule the world. They want supreme power. They wouldn't just... I don't know if Sauron understands that no one can really wield the ring without going bad. I think he does understand this since he's its creator. But he also assumes that everything anyone does it's a power grab. Everything's a power grab because everything's a power grab for him. Does that make sense? Yeah. So he sees this king coming and he launches it too soon. And guys, what did he lose on that battlefield?
He lost the Lord of the...
He lost the Lord of the Nazgul. He lost his chief henchman, the king of the Nine, to a woman. And remember we saw that not by the hand of a man shall he fall. By the hand of a woman and a hobbit who stabbed him in the back of the leg and set him off guard so that Éowyn could take him out. He lost a lot. It's not going well. Now, at the end, yes, do you have a question or comment?
These knives that Baron Pippin has, very shriveled up after he stabbed that guy.
Say, what was the first thing you said?
What's up with the knives that Baron...
They're just evil. Do you know what? We actually might remember something. I don't know if you remember when Beowulf dived to the bottom of that lake to kill Grendel's mother. Remember, he killed Grendel, ripped his arm out. Then Mom came and said, "What are you ripping my kid's arm out for? Hanging it on your door. I don't like that." So she takes some people and eats them. And she goes back to the lake. And Beowulf dives down and he finds an old sword. And when he kills her, it shrivels. It melts away.
That's what happened to Nazgul.
Yes, it shriveled away too. So there's something about the evilness of it. I don't know. It just melted down to the hilt. But same thing happened in Beowulf. Because remember, Tolkien is a professor of Anglo-Saxon literature. So they have decided to march on the Black Gate of Mordor. Do they think they can win?
No.
Nope.
Why in the world are they going there?
To get the ring destroyed so that Frodo has a chance.
Yeah.
I like
Because we gotta divert his attention somehow. And he says, and this is so beautiful. Let me end with this. Because we talked earlier about kings doing their duty. Yes.
Do they like know for sure that Frodo's still alive?
Well, they figure that Sauron wouldn't be losing anything if he had the ring. And that things would be getting even worse. But no, they don't know for sure. But they remember Gandalf has this thing too that he can sense. And so
in the movie, Aragorn just yells out when he goes towards the Black Gate, and he's like, "For Frodo."
just a second. I wanted to read the just a second. Be patient. His doubt will be growing even as we speak here. His eye is now straining towards us, blind almost to all else that is moving. So we must keep it. Therein lies all our hope. This then is my counsel. We have not the ring. In wisdom or great folly it has been sent away to be destroyed, lest it destroy us. Without it we cannot by force defeat his force. We must at all costs keep the eye from his true peril. We cannot achieve victory by arms, but by arms we can give the ring bearer his only chance, frail though it be. So they head out, and they know that it may be to death. They may never come back. But if they do it right, Frodo will have time, and if that ring gets destroyed, all Middle-earth for the future will be free. Okay. Write your paragraph. Read Dorothy Mills chapter 18 about the Counter-Reformation, and chapters 1 through 5 of our final push in Lord of the Rings, or past it if you want to.
On
Yes.
the cover of the book,
Yes.
looks like the pillars, like that one, the western.
Oh, yes.
The pillars look like white legs. Yeah.
They look like what?
Like legs that have been like whipped or like scratched.
Oh, yes, they do. It's supposed to be red marble.
I know.
Bye, have fun.
Yay.